and welcome to CYC News for the 23rd of August 2020 and the 17th of Misra 1736 AM. I'm Gabriella Maurice. In today's headlines, Australia secures access to Oxford-AstraZeneca trial, US Postal Service halts controversial changes amid voting uproar, Spain's former king confirmed to be in the UAE, Israel and UAE launched a direct phone link after a historic accord, COVID-19 loss of smell is different from the cold and flu. Barcelona named former player as new head coach. But first, staying in Australia, where the federal government has secured access to a promising coronavirus vaccine and will be able to offer free doses to its entire population of 25 million people. The vaccine is being developed by the pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca and Oxford University. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said, "If this vaccine proves successful, we will manufacture and supply vaccines straight away under our own steam and make it free for 25 million Australians. The cost of supplying the vaccine to the whole population has not yet been fixed, with the country's aim for 95% of the population to be vaccinated." The vaccine is one of 5 promising candidates to reach an advanced stage of clinical trials, with the countries around the world seeking to secure supplies for their own populations. The deal with AstraZeneca is Australia's first such a vaccine agreement. If trials were successful, Mr. Morrison said he hoped the vaccine would be available early next year. Manufacturing it would require an additional few months. Over to the United States now, where the US Postal Service has suspended new policies that were decreed as an attempt to sabotage the 2020 election. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy said he would reverse operational changes that critics say would hamper postal voting. The US Postal Service had begun what it said were cost-cutting measures in recent months. Policies including removing mailboxes, cancelling delivery runs, and closing down sorting centres. The U-turn comes as Mr. DeJoy is due to testify to Congress and at least 20 states were preparing to sue. In a statement, Mr. DeJoy said, "To avoid even the appearance of any impact on election mail, I am suspending these initiatives until the election is concluded. There is a fierce debate over postal funding in 2020 as record numbers of Americans are expected to vote by mail due to the pandemic." Mark Diamondstein, the president of the American Postal Workers Union, which represents more than 200,000 postal employees, said that the changes are truly slowing down mail. The customers see it, the postal workers see it, mail is getting all backed up. Over to the United Arab Emirates, where Spain's former King Juan Carlos has been living in the United Arab Emirates since 3rd of August. The Spanish royal palace has confirmed, putting an end to speculation over his whereabouts. On the 3rd of August, the ex-king made the shock announcement that he was leaving Spain amidst a corruption investigation. The 82-year-old travelled to the UAE, where he remains, according to a spokesman. The ex-king's finances are under scrutiny in a major corruption probe. He denies any wrongdoing and has said he is available if prosecutors need to interview him. Earlier this month, he announced the move in a letter to his son Felipe, to whom he handed the throne 6 years ago. He said at the time was making the decision in the face of public repercussions that certain past events in my private life are generating, and in the hope of allowing his son to carry out his functions as king with tranquility. It was first reported that he had travelled to the Dominican Republic, but Spanish media later said he had arrived in Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE. However, until now, neither the palace nor the government had confirmed his whereabouts. The former king is said to have travelled to the UAE on several occasions since his abdication in 2014. He is reported to be close to a number of key figures, including the UAE's de facto leader, Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. Crossing over to Israel now, where the country has inaugurated direct telephone services with the UAE, following their agreement last week to normalise relations. Israel's Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi, who held a call with his Emirati counterpart Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, tweeted last Sunday that the two sides decided together on the establishment of a direct communication channel ahead of the signing of the normalization agreement between the two countries, and to meet soon. Israel's Communications Minister Yoaz Hendel said, "I congratulate the United Arab Emirates on the unblocking. Many economic opportunities will now open up, and these trust-building steps are important for advancing these countries' interests." Telecom providers in the UAE have now unblocked calls to numbers with Israel's +972 country code. The two sides are expected to sign the accord in Washington in 2 weeks' time. Normalising relations will include opening embassies on each other's territory. The US brokered deal was announced by President Donald Trump last Thursday, and it is only the third Israel-Arab peace treaty in the Middle East. The international community has mostly welcomed the move, although Palestinians, Iran and Turkey have denounced it. Under the terms of the deal, Israel has agreed to suspend its controversial plans to annex parts of the occupied West Bank. To some health news, European researchers have said the loss of smell that can accompany COVID-19 is unique and different from that experienced by someone with a bad cold or flu. When COVID-19 patients have smell loss, it tends to be sudden and severe. They also don't usually have a blocked, stuffy or runny nose. Most people with coronavirus can still breathe freely. Another thing that sets them apart is their true loss of taste. Researchers in the journal Rhinology indicate it's not that their taste is somewhat impaired because of their sense of smell is out of action. Coronavirus patients with loss of taste really cannot tell the difference between bitter and sweet. Experts suspect this is because the virus affects the nerve cells differently involved with smell and taste sensation. The main symptoms of COVID-19 are a high temperature, a new continuous cough, and a loss of smell or taste. Anyone with these symptoms should self-isolate and arrange to have a swab test to check if they have the virus. Members of their household should isolate too to prevent possible spread. And in sport, Ronald Koeman has been named the new head coach of Barcelona 2 days after the club sacked Keke Setien. The 57-year-old left his role as Netherlands boss with 2 years left on his contract to sign a 2-year deal with the Spanish Giants. He played for Barcelona between 1989 and 1995, helping them to 4 league titles and the European Cup. The Catalans finished second in La Liga last season, failing to win a trophy for the first time since 2007 to 2008. The 5-point gap to champions Real Madrid and the humiliating 8-2 defeat to Bayern Munich in their Champions League quarter-final last week culminated in the managerial change. And that's all for CYC News. A reminder that you can watch this news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Gabriella Maurice from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. See you next time.